In a world that's constantly fighting for your attention, what if the best defense was a technology that's, oh, I don't know, thousands of years old? Today, we're diving into how the simple act of reading can help you get your focus back.
So, do you ever feel like your brain has way too many tabs open? You sit down to focus on one thing, and suddenly you're pulled in a million different directions. If that sounds familiar, hey, you're definitely not alone. And you know what? It's not your fault.
You see, the digital world we live in, it's pretty much engineered for speed, not for depth. Every scroll, every notification, every little skim, it's all training our brains to constantly shift focus. This feeling of having fragmented attention, it isn't just common anymore. It's kind of become the default setting for most of us.
Okay, so what is this age of skimming actually doing to our brains? Let's take a closer look at how we're learning to read so differently now and what it's really costing us. Think of it this way. Deep reading, that's like taking your brain to the gym for some serious weightlifting. It's slow, it's immersive, and it builds up the neural pathways for focus and critical thinking. It literally strengthens the connections in there. Digital skimming, on the other hand, well, that's more like endless shallow cardio that our screens are always pushing on us. One builds mental muscle, the other can actually let it waste away over time. But here's the really good news. There's a super powerful, science-backed antidote to all this distraction. It's a piece of tech that's been with us for centuries, the book. This is exactly why picking up a book can feel like hitting a giant reset button. Science shows us it measurably reduces stress, it builds up our empathy by letting us literally walk around in someone else's shoes, and it rebuilds our shattered focus. It even helps you sleep better by telling your brain, hey, it's time to power down. This isn't just about entertainment. It's essential fuel for your mind. And get this, you don't need to dedicate hours and hours to feel the effects. Studies show that just 6 minutes of reading can seriously lower your heart rate and ease muscle tension. That's probably less time than it takes to scroll through your email. The calming effect is almost immediate. It's wild. So, knowing all the benefits, that's the easy part. Building the actual habit, well, that's where it gets tricky, right? So let's shift gears from the why to the how and look at a practical blueprint for making reading really stick. So there are two brilliant, totally proven philosophies for building habits. BJ Fogg's Tiny Habits is all about emotion. The idea is you start so incredibly small it's impossible to fail, and then you celebrate that tiny win to create a good feeling. James Clear's Atomic Habits is more system-based. It's all about building a framework for small, little improvements that just compound over time. The big takeaway here is you don't have to rely on willpower alone. There are actual strategies to help you succeed. So how can you put this into practice today, like right now? It's way simpler than you might think. First, start ridiculously small. I'm talking just 5 minutes. Anybody can find 5 minutes. Second, make a book your new phone. Always have one on you for all those little in-between moments. And third, do what's called habit stacking. Just link your reading to something you already do, like having that first cup of coffee. You're not trying to invent new time, you're just transforming your old habits. Okay, so once the habit starts to feel a little more normal, we can level up. Because it's not just that you read, it's how you read. We're gonna move from just consuming words on a page to actively engaging with them. This philosopher, Mortimer J. Adler, he just totally nailed it. Real reading isn't a passive thing. It's an active process of thinking, where the words on the page are actually helping you figure out and clarify your own ideas. In short, active reading is active thinking. And one of the most powerful tools for this is a super simple practice called marginalia. Sounds fancy, but it just means writing in the margins. Argue with the author, ask questions, connect ideas. Suddenly, you're not just a passive reader anymore. You're in an active dialogue with the text. And that's how a book becomes uniquely yours. All right, now let's talk about your environment. Your physical space can either be your greatest ally in building a reading habit, or it can be your biggest saboteur. And listen, you don't need some perfect wood-paneled library. We're just talking about a few simple fixes. Good lighting, that's a must. It just saves your eyes. Then clear your immediate line of sight. Research shows that visual clutter literally competes for your attention. And finally, get a handle on the noise. Even just closing a door can be the difference between distraction and deep focus. At the end of the day, this is all about making reading a truly personal journey. You could even try a practice called bibliotherapy. Just start by identifying a challenge or maybe an area of growth in your own life. Then, curate a list of books that speak to that theme.
Keep a journal of your thoughts as you read, and finally, find a community to talk about these ideas with. This is how you transform reading from a simple hobby into a powerful tool for self-discovery. Every notification, every ad, every endless scroll, it's a bid for your attention. Reading is a quiet act of rebellion. It's a way of saying, nope, my focus is my own. So the only question left is, what book are you going to pick up to take it back?